of shadows.
Hi my angels, it's Hailey Reese and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am so excited that you are here and I hope that you are having an absolutely fantastic morning, afternoon, or night, whatever it should be for you when this video finally reaches you. Today's video is a spooky one because we are once again diving into the world of black-eyed children with yet another black-eyed children encounter, except this one has me questioning so many things, hence why I felt the need to come on here and share the encounter with you guys and hear your theories surrounding said encounter. If you guys have been on my channel for a while, you guys would know that black-eyed children are one of the few things, if not, yeah, one of the few things that actually scared me while I was researching them and learning more about them and all of the different encounters that people have had. I mean, granted, I was researching them late at night, home alone, and then I had to like walk to my car to go pick my uncle up. It was just a recipe for disaster either way. But today I am just so excited to dive into this particular encounter because one common question in the black-eyed children world is what exactly are black-eyed children? There are so many different theories surrounding these kids. Like some people believe they're a demonic entity, some people believe they're just an entity in and of itself, some people believe that they could be aliens or related to alien activity. There is just so many questions as to what they are, where they come from, and what their actual sole purpose is. And this particular encounter, I believe, in my opinion, complicates things even further because there's a twist at the end of this encounter that raises so many questions for me. So I am just so excited to sit here with you guys. I feel like I'm talking to like my best friends, talking about scary stuff, and share this encounter with you. Before we get into today's video though, I would just very quickly like to take a moment and share today's video sponsor with you guys. I would just very quickly like to thank today's video sponsor, Toodaloo. Something that I find really important when looking for new snacks to fall in love with is that I want snacks that not only fill me up, but are also good for me and good for the planet. Toodaloo is a ridiculously tasty cosmic trail mix with functional benefits, such as supporting gut health, focus, energy, and skin. Not only is Toodaloo a healthy, flavorful snack that leaves you wanting more, but there are over 30 thoughtfully sourced superfoods across the 5 flavors. Toodaloo is also non-GMO, gluten-free, grain-free, and plant-based, with no processed sugars, and is carbon conscious. Better yet, if you don't agree that Toodaloo is the most delicious trail mix you've ever had, they will refund you. I honestly love all of the flavors, but my personal favorite is the Toodaloo Smoke Show, which is like a barbecue mix. It is so delicious. And there are 42 grams of plant-based protein per bag. It's also low in carbs, supports energy, and holistic balance. You guys can click the link down below to receive $5 off your first order of ridiculously tasty Toodaloo. And don't forget, they will regenerate 100 square feet of polluted farmland with every order. So make sure you guys click the link down below to get $5 off of your first order. And thank you so much to Toodaloo for sponsoring this video. And without further ado, let's get into today's terrifying story. Okay, I feel like with this new setup, this is like the exact vibe that I wanted for stories like this because growing up, one of my favorite things was like sitting around with my friends at sleepovers and talking about like scary stories, ghost stories, urban legends, all that stuff. So without further ado, let's get into this experience. So this experience takes place in what was described as a city-like rural area, if that makes sense. Essentially, they explained it as a space just outside of the city, so some may deem it country land, like it is more so in the country, but it's close to all of like the big things that you would need in a city, the big grocery stores, the big shopping malls, etc. But these houses on this particular street were pretty far apart. Now, the street itself was actually described as almost like a laneway. Like, it was described as a gravel road that if you didn't really know that there was a bunch of houses on this street, you likely would just pass right by it and not even notice, which is very important to this story. Now, this story takes place with two girls, an older sister and a younger sister, and at this particular time, the older sister was babysitting the younger sister. Now, there were actually quite a few children that lived on this road, and the children would often ride their bikes to go and hang out with one another. Because it was kind of out off to the side, the parents didn't really worry about the kids getting on their bikes and biking a little bit of a ways to the surrounding homes to hang out with the other kids. And so while the older sister was babysitting the younger sister was given freedom to be able to go outside and play and all of that. The older sister was just there to essentially make sure nothing bad happened. So in this particular afternoon, they had just had lunch, and the younger sister said that she was going to go outside and play around the yard and maybe hang out with some of the neighboring children. The older sister was like, okay, cool, I'm just going to hang out on my cell phone. So the older sister goes and sits down on the couch and is scrolling on her cell phone, kind of doing her own thing. And that's when she hears the door open and her sister coming inside with an unfamiliar child's voice. Keep in mind, in this particular street, they all know each other. Everyone trusts everyone and everyone knows everyone. So she's a little bit confused, but just continues scrolling on her phone, not really thinking much of it. A couple of hours go by, and the older sister goes down to the basement where the two were playing to check on them. And that's when she noticed she had never seen this child before. Even creepier, the sister had only heard what sounded like one child with her sister, but there was actually, in fact, two children with her sister. And these children not only were unfamiliar children to her, but there was something extremely off with them. She described the children as very pale with almost soulless looking eyes. When she looked at the children, she couldn't believe that they looked like they had no eye. Like it was like blacked out circles on their face, and something about their demeanor was really off. So she called her sister over and asked her who the heck these children were. Her sister then proceeded to tell her that when she went outside to play, she ran into these two children outside of the house who asked her if they could come inside and play with her, to which she said, sure, and invited these children in. Now, quick backtrack here with black-eyed children. Black-eyed children are often spotted in rural areas, typically out in the country or on backcountry roads. They either approach your vehicle or approach your home, and they ask the question, can we come in? And this is where people really start to believe that black-eyed children could in fact be demonic entities, because demonic entities require permission to enter. So you're told, I mean, this is where it gets complicated, because on one hand, your moral side of you is like, oh, there's two children asking to come in, most often in the middle of the night. What are you gonna do, slam the door in their face? But I mean, if their eyes are blacked out and you know about black-eyed children, like really, what do you do? But you're not supposed to let the black-eyed children in. In fact, in a lot of these encounters, once people let the black-eyed children in, things just go horribly wrong. So the older sister tells the younger sister that maybe she should tell the kids that they have to go home. But the kids' demeanor started changing. And what was super weird about this for them was that they were talking off to the side, and she was whispering almost to her younger sister. So they believed there was no way that these children could really understand what they were talking about, if that makes sense. So when their demeanor started changing, the older sister's vibe just kept feeling very off. There was something off with these kids. She said that when she walked over to tell the children that their parents were going to be home soon and they had things that they had to do and the kids had to leave, the kids started getting very angry. The kids actually never really spoke to the older sister. She only remembers having heard one voice when the younger sister came into the house. But, oh, and by the way, I know I keep saying older sister, younger sister, and it's a little bit annoying, but when this story was written, the names were never said. She just said, my younger sister, throughout the experience. So I genuinely don't know what their names were, so I do apologize for that. But essentially, she had heard the younger sister come in with what sounded like one child talking, but the children had never really spoken to her. They were just getting visibly angry. She said it took quite a long time to convince the children to leave, and as the children were leaving, one of them turned around and looked at the older sister and said in the most sinister voice, we'll be back. To which the older sister didn't really know what to say. And even eerier, as the two are walking away and the two sisters are looking at them like, this is so strange, the other child then turns around and looked to the younger sister and said, "Thanks for letting us in," as they turned away slowly and walked away. Now you may be thinking, this isn't that crazy. I mean, maybe the kids just had dark eyes. Who the heck knows, right? But here's where the story takes a wild turn. Because they lived out in almost the country, they had a lot of like toys, expensive toys for outside, like ATVs, dirt bikes, things of that nature. So their father had installed security systems and cameras outside of the house to just keep an eye on their things, even though they did trust everyone around. That evening, when the parents returned home, they asked how the day was, and the older sister went ahead and told the parents everything that had happened, how weird the little kids were, how they looked soulless, they were so creepy, they got mad when they wanted them to leave, you know, the story I just told you guys. And that's when the parents were very confused because, like I said, everyone knows everyone in the area. It's not an area that two random children would be exploring on, let alone two children with blacked out eyes. Now, the parents hadn't heard of black-eyed children. They would later discover that when they started kind of Googling and trying to figure out what had happened. But they wanted to see who these kids were and who they could be. So, after dinner, the father pulled up the cameras to take a look and see who these children were. And you guys, there was no trace of the children on the cameras. You could visibly see the daughter walking and talking to nobody. You could visibly see the two sisters outside looking at something when the kids were leaving, but there was nobody there. The children did not show up on the camera. The parents started questioning the kids, asking if this was some made-up story their imaginations had come up with, but they swear that they had seen these children and that this was a real encounter. That was when their parents kind of started digging into, like, has anyone else seen children like this? Whose kids are these? What's going on? And that's when they discovered black-eyed children. And even eerier, they actually started having a string of really bad luck after the kids had came into the house. The youngest daughter even started suffering nosebleeds frequently, which I've actually heard in other black-eyed children encounters as well. And it was just almost like there was bad energy in their house. Now, the kids never returned again. They have no idea whether or not these were just children, but then again, they would have shown up on the cameras. Like, how were the two sisters visibly seen on the cameras? But there's no other children. So that pretty much takes that off the table. But this just raises a question for me, like, why were they not shown on the cameras? During my extensive research into black-eyed children, I actually watched so many, I watched this one video of someone trying to lure in black-eyed children, and they were playing some sort of frequency or sound that they said is supposed to lure them in, and you guys, so creepy. There's literally like a black-eyed person, teenager, child looking thing outside of the window. Now, whether or not that's real, I couldn't tell you, but it was spooky enough. My whole point in that is, though, there are people who believe they've captured black-eyed children on camera. If you guys want me to do a video where I compile like all the different black-eyed children sightings, I will definitely do that. But that just confuses me as to why these children did not show up on the cameras. So I just wanted to share this encounter with you guys and ask you, what do you think of this experience? Why do you think they didn't show up on the cameras? And do you think they were in fact visited by black-eyed children or what? Please let me know in the comment section below. And that is it for today's video. Once again, I would just absolutely love to thank Toodaloo for sponsoring today's video. As I mentioned, all you gotta do is click the link down in my description box and you will receive $5 off of your first order of the ridiculously tasty Toodaloo. So thank you so much to Toodaloo for sponsoring. If you guys are new to my channel or you are just not yet subscribed but you do enjoy my content, I would seriously love it more than you will ever know if you would go ahead and click that subscribe button, and please give this video a big thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Remember, my loves, do all things with kindness, and until next time, I love you.